This is Canada Reads American Style, featuring two friends who love Canada Reads and Canadian literature. Welcome our host Rebecca from Michigan and Tara from Ontario.
Hi, everyone. It is Rebecca and Tara. And today our subject is going to be about our personal bookshelves. Tara had this great idea to chat about what our bookshelves are like at home. And I thought that was a great idea. But first, I want to ask Tara, what have you been up to lately?
Okay, well, I have had a little bit of an adventure last night. So
Cool.
my oldest, Quinn, is 17 and he's played rep lacrosse for a long time, but he's aged out. So this season he decided he wanted to become a ref. So he did the course training and last night was his second game. So he and I end up driving to Six Nations, which is about 45 minutes away from where we live, so that he could ref two under 9 lacrosse games. Oh my God,
Oh,
Rebecca, so much fun. Like I was like, oh, I brought my book and I'm like, I'll just read for 2 hours. Well, these kids are so entertaining and so dang cute that I did not read very much at all. I just wanted to watch them run around these with their big lacrosse. They're so cute.
oh my
So
gosh.
cute.
I
Um,
can't even imagine.
oh yeah, Quinn did get yelled at one time by an
Oh,
8-year-old.
oh, okay. I
Who
thought you were
thought,
going to
no,
say
no.
like a parent or
Oh, no,
something.
no, no. All the parents were great. Coaches, one coach got upset with him, thought he made a wrong call, and Quinn stuck to his guns and he was fine. But nope, this
Oh.
little kid had the ball taken away from him and thought Quinn should have called a penalty. And he gave Quinn a little piece of his mind. It was really cute.
Wow.
I texted Mike going, Quinn just got yelled at by a kid. And I was going to say, at the end of the evening, as we were getting ready to leave, I went to the washroom and there was a little girl in there and she was no longer in her jersey, but she was in her team shirt. So I could tell, and her face was all like flushed. So I could tell. And I'm like, were you playing tonight? She's like, yes, I just played. I'm like, oh, that was a very entertaining game. Very entertaining. You guys did great. And she looked at me. She's sweet with these little cheeks, two braids. Oh my gosh, she was so cute. And she's like, I hit someone and they fell down on the ground. And she had the biggest smile on her face. And I'm like, yes, you did. I'm like, you are amazing. And I'm like, what am I saying? But I'm like, it's just,
I was going to say, are you supposed to knock people down
oh,
in
yes.
lacrosse? Oh, you are.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Oh, I
yeah.
didn't know
Yeah.
that. Oh,
Like
okay.
it is the funniest thing because I am such a pacifist and I'm not a huge fan of hockey.
Mm.
And that's part of the reason, like, I don't like the fighting. But lacrosse is way worse than hockey. I love lacrosse. It's the strangest thing. Like I have parents sitting beside me last night. One mother yelled out to like her 8-year-old kid, "Be more aggressive, Ty!" And I'm like, this sport, it's fantastic. I love it. That little girl was so proud of herself. It was awesome. We had a great night. Quinn did a great job. He loved it. So much fun.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, hockey I get, and I understand that. I guess I've not seen enough lacrosse to know that people do that kind of thing. I mean, like
Yeah.
that they knock each other over or
Oh, yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because even in hockey, I don't know the details because I don't follow it that much. And Quinn played for a couple of years, but only house league
Hmm.
level. You're not allowed to check until a certain age. Are you
Yeah.
allowed to do checking?
Yeah.
At lacrosse, you start right at the beginning. That's part of the game.
Wow.
It's checking. Yeah. So like Quinn last night as a ref was just making sure that they were checking properly,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, these like 7 and 8-year-olds were checking.
And I'm assuming this is probably a stupid question, but I assume they wear helmets and like full
Oh
pads or
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
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 Wow.
Yeah. Oh, so
Okay.
cute. So cute. It
I,
was a very entertaining evening. Very entertaining.
it does sound really fun,
Yeah.
actually. I would love
Yeah.
that. Yeah. That's
And what
cool.
about yourself? What have you been up to?
So today I needed a day off, even though, yes, I'm retired. I needed a day off where I just did something fun. So my happy place is to go to Port Huron, and there's this place called, well, actually, I think it's called like the Maritime Center or something, but I always call it
Okay.
Vantage Point because it's kind of that, it also has that name, I guess. But anyway, you can watch the Great Lakes ships come through, and the way it narrows, it kind of goes from Lake Huron into the St. Clair River and then down to the St. Clair Lake or something, and then it
Mhm.
goes through Detroit and then blah 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 into the next Great Lakes. But anyway, I saw 6 ships today,
Wow.
but 5 I had never seen before. So I'm a total ship nerd. I'm not
Yeah.
kidding you. I was so excited to see all these Great Lakes ships that I hadn't seen before. And it's just, I don't know. It's a nerdy thing, I admit. And I have an app and it tells you what year it was built, often what it carries, and it'll tell you what its origin is, like where it started and where it's headed. And it was funny because there was one ship that had a really funky name. I can't even remember what it was. And I was really excited because I thought, I know I've never seen this ship. And then it docked in Sarnia, but south of where I was. So I was like, damn it. So I didn't get to
Oh,
see that one go by. But anyway, I still had 5 brand new ships today.
wow.
So that was really cool.
I have a question. So do
Yeah.
you mean by that you haven't seen before? So not just that it's a type of ship that you haven't seen before, but the actual ship.
The actual ship, because they all
Wow.
have names. Yeah, they all have
Yeah.
names, and they fly under different flags. And in fact, it's weird because some of them are like Marshall Islands and stuff. It's really
Mm.
fascinating to me, the whole thing about ships that traverse the Great Lakes. And the app I have will actually show you ships around the world. And I will show this app to you the next time we were together, because when you look to see how many ships at any one time are in the water around the world, it's shocking. Like, I had no idea.
Wow.
But the same ships traverse the Great Lakes. So like
Okay.
today I saw the K.E. Barker. I've seen that ship many, many times. And I've seen many of them many, many times. But today I just can't believe, like, I had 5 new ships. So that was a real big
That's
thrill.
cool.
My
Do you
boat nerd
keep
thrill.
a log of the ships that you've seen, or do you
I
just remember?
I actually, take pictures so I
Nice.
can see the name of the ship at the front of it,
Yeah.
and then I add it to my personal Instagram, so then I can go back and look to see if I've seen that ship before, which is kinda how
Oh,
I knew I hadn't seen
yeah.
them.
Very cool. But not a paper log. Like you don't have a little log book?
Okay, well, this is really nerdy now. Okay,
No,
so
I
I
love
went
nerdiness. Go. I'm
okay.
I'm really hoping you have a logbook.
Okay,
But
so sometime you have to come and to the US side,
yeah.
and I'll show you where I go and what I do, but there's a restaurant called Freighters, right there, next to the Blue Water Bridge. And if you go into that restaurant, they have a little gift shop, and they had a book that comes out. I don't know if it comes out every year, but I think it does, because it'll tell you what ships you will see that year. So like it'll say
Oh,
2022, 23, or something like that.
yeah.
And so I did read a lot about the ships in that. I can still get the same info pretty much on the app. But anyway, so I could mark them there, but
Okay.
honestly, I just had started doing it on my Instagram, so I started just
Yeah.
doing it that way. But,
That's
yeah,
cool.
and also if you go to Freighters, the restaurant, they have these big picture windows, and when the ship comes through and they go under the Blue Water Bridge, it's the narrowest it's going to be in that whole area, because again, it goes from the lake down to the river,
Mhm.
and I mean to tell you, it's like it's like you feel like you could just reach out and touch the ships. I swear to God,
Cool.
that's how. And you're sitting in the restaurant, these big picture windows, and it's really cool. So anyway,
Nice.
so that's what I did today. Yeah.
Very cool. On to our bookshelf banter.
Yes. So
Yeah.
tell me about your bookshelves.
Okay. I am going to say so previous to this, so about 20 years ago, this is how I started organizing my bookshelf. When I realized, so I think previous to this, I may have tried alphabetical or I may have done nothing. They may have just been thrown on my bookshelf.
Hmm.
About 20 years ago, I realized that the majority of my books are by Canadian authors.
Hmm.
So I dedicated one entire bookshelf, so not just a shelf, but like a bookshelf, the whole thing, to just my Canadian lit books. So I have one entire bookshelf that's just my Canadian books.
Wow.
And that has now like overflowed onto another bookshelf
Yeah.
that now I just have like a few extra random ones. So that's my main way and that I organize. They are not organized alphabetically. I try to keep the same authors. Like I keep authors' books grouped together if I can. I'm not quite that. I'm not really that anal about making it alphabetical or pretty. You know what I mean?
How do you know if you wanna find a book? How do you know where it is?
I remember. I
Oh, their location? Wow.
Yeah, like I
Okay.
kind of like so I just have the one main book or bookshelf that has most of my Canadian lit, and then
Mhm,
I have maybe two other like individual shelves that now contain my Canadian lit. So I
mhm,
kind of there aren't a lot of options as to where it can be,
mhm.
and I kind of know that past like books that I've purchased past a certain year are now on this shelf because there's no room for them on the green shelf anymore.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And
And
then
are these also books that you've read and or not read? Are they all mixed together?
just read. I would never mix my
Got it,
unread books and my read books together.
got it.
No. No, that's not even been like an option. I wouldn't even think of doing that.
Yeah,
I've heard of people doing that and I don't understand it. I don't
yeah.
I'm like,
I
no.
agree.
Yeah, no. I'm like, I gotta, because how do you know then if they're all mixed together? How do you know when you're going to read
I
that
know.
unread book?
I know, that's what I
Right?
wonder. I agree, I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. So that's my main way, and then I have like a couple of individual shelves. Like I have a shelf for my poetry.
Oh,
Yep, I have a shelf for American authors, like an individual shelf, not a great big like a
yeah,
unit.
yeah.
And then another shelf for the rest of the world, which has made me realize I don't read a lot of books outside of North America
Mhm,
because even that shelf tends to be mostly authors from the UK.
okay.
But I should broaden, but that's my main thing.
Okay, so basically how many bookshelves total then do you have? So you have
One full one,
yeah,
and then we did have I'm probably working on almost another second full one.
got it.
Yeah. So about two, let's say two. I don't have a huge number, a large number of books. I don't know if that sounds like my husband would disagree and say that I have too many.
Mhm.
I don't think I do because I purged a lot several years ago when I realized I had lots that I didn't like and I
Mhm,
purchased and I didn't like them and I wasn't going to read them again. So I purged a lot and just kept books by my favorite authors and books that I know I'm going to read again.
mhm,
And I've been very like particular about what books I purchase.
yeah. Okay, but I
Yeah.
also know because 'cause I've seen it on your Instagram, feed before,
Yeah.
you have a huge stack next to your bed. Now
Yes.
what are those? I
Okay, so I
consider that a shelf because
yeah,
they're
okay,
sitting
then
on a
I
yeah.
didn't count those. So I actually have 2 huge stacks beside my bed. So one, or I should say in the one beside the bed, one is like at the on another shelf in the bedroom. So those are my unread books. The biggest pile
Mhm,
is books that I've purchased for myself or that I've been gifted.
mhm.
And then I have another growing pile because I don't know how to say no to people when they lend me books. So I have
Oh,
another
yeah,
pile beside my bed that
yeah,
is literally a tower now, about 2 feet of people, which is very sweet. I love when people think of me and lend me a book. Mostly it's my youngest child that's giving me the books. Every time he
aw.
finishes a book, he's like, read this. So, and my
Yeah,
mom and my aunt, and I have another friend. I have actually sporadic friends that will give me books, so which is really nice. But that
yeah.
one is creeping up quite high too.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's my question because do
yeah.
you in your mind I know probably not officially, but or formally, but do you have a period of time where you go, "Oh, I better get this read because somebody loaned it to me and I wanna get it back to them," and so you focus on those or no?
I try to because I hate to keep a book too long that someone has lent me.
Yeah,
However, I also have to be in the mood to read the book. So I think
right. Yeah,
at times I end up keeping books that people lend me too long, and I feel bad about that, but I kinda have to wait till I want to read it,
yeah.
right?
Okay.
How about you? How do
Okay,
you do it?
so I have 3 bookshelves sort of. So I have one in the
Okay.
basement, and that's everything I've ever all my books that I've read that I've kept. And anything that I've read that I just say I really don't want to keep it necessarily.
Yeah.
I donate it to my public library. And again, I should mention for those who may not know, I was a librarian. I'm a retired librarian, and I didn't really buy books that often because for my whole career I was just getting them from the library. But anyway, so this one shelf, and I would say 99% of it is Canadian because
Wow.
the American stuff I always feel like I can get access to again if I wanted to read it. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not a big rereader, but I thought, I probably could get it. The Canadian books I really kind of hold on to that I liked because I may not be able to get those again. And I want to
Yeah.
make sure if I do want to reread, I have access to it. So that's in the basement, and it's a four shelf. I think it's 4 shelves, and it's like a barrister bookshelf because I always wanna keep my books covered because I've
Mm,
worked in libraries long enough to know that the dust that settles in books,
yeah.
it just drives me crazy because I don't like to dust.
Yeah.
So, I have barrister one down in the basement, and then on the first floor, I have, like, these I think it's IKEA, and they're Billy bookshelves or something. There's, like, kind of famous
Oh,
ones.
yes. Yeah. That's, yeah.
Yeah, I have double ones. So there's, like, anyway, I've got 2 of them. They're rather large, and they're together, and then I have all the books that I have purchased that I want to read. So,
Okay.
there aren't that many because mostly it's my collectible stuff that's sitting on those shelves, but I do have books on the shelves, and then I am reminded because my goal is if I buy a book, I wanna read it within a year, and I know that's
Mm,
really not the norm, and that's okay.
that's a good goal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just because 'cause I'm a mood reader, so I know if I don't read it in a year, I'm never gonna read it, and then I'm gonna be mad that I spent the money, although I'm supporting an author, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But then I figure I'll just give it to the public library, so I just donate my books that I don't read. So, I have that shelf, and it's funny because some friends of mine, who were visiting from out of state, it was hilarious. They know I'm a librarian, so they saw my shelves, and I only had a few books on it, and they laughed, and they were like, "Where the hell are your books?" And I said, "At the public library where I check them out." I said, "I don't really own a lot of books." So they were shocked when they saw how few books were sitting on my shelf. So anyway, there's that. So those are the ones I want to read. And then I just added a little bookshelf into my kind of office area
Mm-hmm.
because these are the books that, like maybe somebody, well, maybe an author sent us a book or something, or sent me a book, or books like I have the Grimm's fairy tales that I want to read.
Mm-hmm.
So different things that I want to be able to just pick it up, read a story, and put it back. So I keep it up here because this is mostly if I'm not outdoors reading, I'm up here reading. And so it's just a little shelf that just has a few books on it. And some of
Nice.
them are also books I've read that need to just go down to the basement. And I've been too lazy to just take them
Yeah.
down there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of really what I have. I don't have a ton. And one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to actually take pictures of our bookshelves,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
And we're going to post it on our Instagram. So when this is how we're going to advertise this podcast. So when you see our pictures on our Instagram accounts, you'll know that this podcast has dropped and you can actually see where our bookshelves are and what they kind of look
Yes.
like. So, yeah.
Please don't judge the messiness of my bookshelves.
Hey, mine are actually really neat, but people will be shocked that I have so few
Yeah.
books, I think.
Yeah.
Because I just like I said, I just always use my public library mostly.
Now, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
On your shelf, like the one in the basement of the
Mhm.
books that you've read, do
Mhm.
you have those organized
Oh,
on the shelf? Like, are they alphabetical, fiction, nonfiction? You know what I mean?
100% they're alphabetical because
Okay.
if I need to grab a book for whatever reason, and
Yeah.
that's just it's encoded in me as a human being, as a
Mhm.
librarian, I think that it has to be alphabetical. So they're not divided any other way. I do have some like coffee table books, sort of bigger ones, and they lay a certain way on the shelf because they won't stand up straight. So they kind of are on the bottom. And then I have some, I can't even think of maybe a few little odds and ends that are in that bottom of that bookcase. So it's not even all 4 shelves are full of books, believe it
Yeah.
or not. Yeah. So, but no, that part is alphabetical. The stuff that's on the first floor of books to be read, that's not arranged. There aren't that many of them, so they're just there. Oh, but I will say down on that second or on the first floor, there are 3 series that I'm reading over time: Redwall, Narnia, and Anne of Green Gables. So I bought those as like kind of Narnia and Anne of Green Gables are like little box sets.
Yep.
So I keep those there. So that's a reminder all the time that I have these 3 series that I want to get
Hmm.
through. So they're kind of in my face a lot. So that, which is good. It's a reminder.
Yeah.
And then the ones on this little shelf up here. Now they're just a handful of books up here. So yeah, that's kind of it.
Nice. Mine, I find we have, I have to try and rein it in. I have to figure something out. My one shelf that's completely full, that's all good. But we have bookshelves kind of all over the house. So
Hmm.
whenever I see an empty shelf now, I've kind of started taking it over with books. So that's why when you ask me, like, how many bookshelves do you have? I'm like, that's why I sounded like an idiot. I'm like, can she not count? I'm like, I don't know what they would add up to. Because on this shelf, I might have like my sweaters plus 2 shelves of
Yeah.
books, like in the little cubby hole. And I like down in Mike's area, we initially had put up one whole wall covered with IKEA bookshelves, but it
Hmm.
was mostly for the kids, like their Lego and stuff at their when they were younger.
Yeah.
I've started taking that over as
Wow.
well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's like mixed in with Lego and stuff. Oh, right. So I also have another bookshelf, like an individual shelf that is children's books. So books that I
Oh,
had when I was a kid that I let my that I kept for my that well, that my mom kept for me to give to my kids, which I read to them, but more that I loved more than they did. And also some of their favorite books that I purchased them is also on one shelf.
that reminds me, yes, my
Yeah,
children's books, because I have children's books and picture books.
yeah, I
Those
thought
are
you
on a,
might.
yes, the ones I've read, they're on a separate shelf. Yeah, because I don't like, I wouldn't mix those in with my adult books.
Yeah,
They would sit kind of funny and wonky and stuff. So
yeah,
yeah. Can I just mention too? I just want to throw this out there because on my shelf upstairs here, this little shelf, I have an old rotary phone because I saw this video where they were asking 20-something-year-olds how to use a rotary phone. And
yeah,
the dad said, I'm going to give you 3 minutes to make a phone call. I mean, it wasn't attached to anything. They just said
yeah.
he wanted to see how they did it. It was hilarious. It was so funny. So my little 5-year-old grandniece, Sidonia, I thought, I don't want anyone to ever make a video of her where she does not know how to do something and people laugh at her. So I bought this phone. And here's the thing, it sits on that shelf. Every time she comes over, she says, "Can we play phone?" And she knows how to dial, and we talk, and we make up the
Yeah.
most that kid's gonna be a writer someday because she makes up the most incredible stories, and they are hilarious, and I just play along. So when you see the picture on Instagram, you'll see the
The phone.
old-fashioned, like, 1940s or 50s old black phone.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Hey, so
Yeah.
what are you reading right now?
Okay, I am almost finished. I am reading Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver.
Oh. How
Yes.
far into it are you?
I'm about 3 quarters, maybe a little more actually. I think I have less than 100 pages left to go. This is a honker of a book.
I know. So can I
Yeah.
just ask, do
Yeah.
you don't say too much because I
Nope.
know you'll
I
talk
won't,
about it
no
later.
spoilers. Yeah.
But just in general,
Yeah.
are you loving it? How are you feeling about it?
I am really enjoying it.
Yeah.
I think, unfortunately, so I've read quite a few of King Solver's books in the past, not all of
Mhm.
her books.
Mhm.
So she is an author that I enjoy. So was going to read this anyways when I'd heard it was published. But there has been such that darn book buzz. There's been so much buzz
Yep.
around this book
Mhm.
that I think even though it's an author I enjoy, that it was just like so built up in my head that I expect it to like on page 1 to just be like, "Oh my god, best book ever."
Yeah.
And I'm not getting that, which is
Okay.
fine, but I am really enjoying it. And the more I'm like the further I'm going into it, the more I am enjoying it. I think I really am going to end up loving it.
Good.
Um,
Yeah.
just what she's written, it is, and the more I think about it, like it's amazing what she's done with
Yeah.
this book. But it's that damn book buzz.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear more about it too after you've finished it and to see. Yeah, because when I saw, like you said, it's a honker of a book, and I thought, I'm not sure if I'll read that. And I think I've only read 2 of her books, I think, from the past. But yeah, you'd have to really, really convince me to
Mm,
tackle it. So that's why I'm really curious when you get to the end,
yeah,
looking back, what you think of it. So I can't wait to hear
I'll
that.
let you
So
know.
cool,
Yep.
cool.
And what are you reading?
And so I have decided to, I just realized I have only read 2 nonfiction books all year, which I cannot believe because
What?
I know. And I think that I'm going to be honest. I think that's part of my reading slump. I think I
Yeah.
kind of forgot about my nonfiction, which is more what I read than fiction. And I think that's what caused my slump a little bit.
Yes.
So I just
I'm
finished.
shocked.
I was too.
Yeah.
I went back and started looking and went, oh my gosh. So I am committing. I'm going to see. I am committing to the Ted Kennedy biography, which I
Great.
started reading.
Yep.
I don't know how, like, it's been a while. I started it a while ago, but it's like 600 pages or
Yeah.
something.
It's a
And so
honker too.
but I have to tell you, every time I read it, I can't put it down. The writing is exceptional. I feel like every sentence is interesting. And I'm not kidding you.
Yeah.
When I say every sentence, I cannot put this thing down. So I said to myself, you know what? You're only at like 125. You got to like really commit and put some time into this because I really am enjoying it, but I am a little put off by the size of it. So I'm not going
Yeah.
to lie.
Yeah.
That's kind of, it's kind of causing me a little bit of a block, but I will say that at around page 200, Chappaquiddick comes up, and I
Yes.
know I'm going to
Yes.
really be interested in that whole
Yeah.
section. So I'm pretty excited to get to that point as well. But yeah, I think this author, John A. Farrell, I think he is amazing. And he's written a book about Richard Nixon that I think I may actually want to read as well. And I hope
Mm.
he just does more in the future because his writing is just so compelling. It's just so fascinating.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, that is what I'm reading.
Very cool. Very cool. I'll also throw it that I've also reading my nonfiction is Gathering Moss by Robin Wall Kimmerer, author of Braiding Sweetgrass. So this
Yeah.
was her first book.
And how are you liking that?
I'm loving it. I really like plants. I like
Mhm.
botany, and I love how she puts mosses are really cool. I got to say, she makes them cool.
Yeah.
And I love how she gives you lots of botany and lots of the science and about the life cycle of these mosses and the ecology. And then these little life lessons at the same time. It's
Yeah.
really beautiful. Yeah, she's a beautiful writer.
All right. Well, I think this has been, I hope people are kind of interested in this topic of our bookshelves. And we would love to say that if you could, post pictures of your bookshelves, we
Yes,
would love to see
tag
that.
us.
So, tag us.
Yeah.
If you post them, definitely tag both of us. And we hope you enjoyed this episode. And we will see you again soon.
Yeah. Keep on reading.
Thank you for joining us on our bookish journey. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing Canada Reads American Style wherever you listen. You can connect with the podcast and Rebecca on Instagram at Canada Reads American Style and with Tara at On a Branch Reads. Until next time, keep reading.